Good evening, keepers of the cash. Gary B, the casual comic guy here, and I am joined this evening with my co-host, Digger Jim. You've seen him before. He is a regular of the channel. Jim, how's it going, sir?
Going good, going good. Don't have to work tomorrow, so
that's good.
That's always a plus.
Always a plus. We just got 2 hour late start, so I'm ready for that.
And of course, you're hearing our guest of the hour. We have none other than Schaup here from Schaup4Comics. Thank you for coming on tonight, Schaup. How are you doing, sir?
Good. Thank you for having me, Gary. It's great to hang out with you and Jim tonight and go through some books and hopefully surprise a few people with some of the books I brought out. So
nice.
Right, and I like that we're seeing that background behind you some now too.
Oh, yeah. Trying a little bit. So,
but I was excited that you agreed to come on because I'm like, I've seen a lot of Spider-Man, but I've seen a couple other things on this channel too.
Yeah,
and maybe we'll get a couple surprises. Who knows?
Oh, yes, hopefully.
But before we get going, Schaup, who are you and what's your channel about, sir?
All right, so I'm Schaup4Comics. If you can't tell, if you haven't seen my channel already, big Spider-Man guy. Amazing Spider-Man's what I'm trying to collect, especially Volume 1. That's what I want to go after. I'm not going to try to attempt 1,000 comics, try to get all those. It's going to take a long time to try to. Since I got back into comics a little late in the 2011. So that's when I kind of got back into comics. And my main goal is to look at books I liked in the 80s. So if I didn't have them, I tried to go get them and see what I can find that way. So
nice.
Yep.
Well, I think you got like 3 Bronze Age collectors here. And I mean,
yeah.
Just when we were born, just love this stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's as cool and as nice and as pleasing and artistic as some of the covers are today. There's nothing like a good Bronze Age cover that's full of action and vibrant colors and actually depicts what's going on in the book.
Yeah,
right.
Good reads, like a lot more like in-depth reading and all of that. So
right, and when you sat down with those, when you read a Bronze Age book, you were there for at least 20, 25 minutes.
Oh
yeah, you were in it, right?
Yeah, you had a lot of time in it,
especially if Roy or Stan wrote it. All right, well, before we get going, let's say hi to the chat. So, of course, first in, anyone can venture guess, we have Las Cruces. Good evening, sir.
Who is that guy?
In here. How you doing, William? Yep. Nicholas, how are you, sir? Nice to see you. And we have Marcus here. Good evening, Marcus. Nice to see you, buddy. Brian LCS. Good evening, Brian.
So just let him over.
All right, so as they're rolling in, we'll keep saying hello. But we'll get to it. And Schaup, let's see your first book, sir.
All right. So first up, it's going to be the artist that got me into comics, Todd McFarlane. He's the one that drew me in right away with his artwork. But, of course, you got to have a homage to Amazing Spider-Man 300. My favorite one, of course, is going to be Hulk 344.
Oh, yeah. Right.
I love the McFarlane Hulk. He drew him like he was just a brick shit house, I would say. Like he's just huge, just
like a Frankenstein's monster face,
almost square shape, but like his face. I liked the face, everything about it, and I love this homage cover of his and the storyline. I kind of had the run of the 340s, which kind of with him and transforming at midnight or at the nighttime into the Hulk, and daytime he was Bruce. So
excellent.
Yeah, so that was one of my favorite characters that he did.
Now, we know you like Spider-Man, but with you liking the Hulk, what's your favorite iteration of Hulk?
I would go with I don't know, Mr. Fix-It. He really
Joe Fix-It.
Yeah, Mr. Fix-It was just the
Joe
way he interacted and was in Vegas. That was fun.
They have a new run of that now.
Yep.
Matter of fact. Right, chill.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, so good first start. So Hulk 344, ASM 300 homage. All right, number 2, sir.
All right, so number 2, I think Brian will get a kick out of this one. This is going to be Amazing Spider-Man 80. I know that's one of his that he likes to show. But this one, was my first purchase back when I was collecting that I thought, oh wow, I got a sub 100 book for the first time. So this one just brings back all the memories of trying to get that collection started and going after I started with that. So
now, what is the significance of that one? I mean, other than that, is it?
Can't remember if this was the one where Chameleon dressed up as Peter. I can't remember for sure though.
Yeah,
it was around there that he like pretended to be Peter and then he knew it was the Chameleon.
Right. It's Brian's birthday book. There you go.
Birthday book for Brian.
That's what's important. It's Brian's birthday book.
Yeah.
And the thing about that is, I think he would be a great villain in a movie because I mean, I don't know why they haven't used him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now that they're kind of showing that spider sense more it'd be really cool to have that like character that he senses there and just can't figure out who it is.
Now, with the Chameleon, you liking him, what do you think of that McFarlane cover when it had the Chameleon but with the Spider-Man webbing on his face?
Yes, that was good. Yes, I like that one. And then I always liked his one with his hands reaching out with McFarlane with those mid-300 books. Yeah. All
right, nice. So, all right, number 3, Schaup.
Number 3 is going to be another Spider-Man. So we got a little run here of Spider-Man. But I think a low-key villain that I really liked back then was the Tarantula. So his first appearance was 134.
Oh, nice.
I always thought he was a really cool character, like the Tarantula versus Spider. That's back then. That was the thing. And I just didn't know how he would walk around with those spiked boots.
That's his first appearance?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, I didn't know. That's why I was straight up. I wasn't sure.
His first appearance, and I think his almost identical cover to Spectacular Spider-Man 1. So they're almost identical to the two. So
yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah. Like I said,
and I always thought he had a fun costume too.
Oh yeah,
except I'm with you, Schaup. I don't understand the boots.
Yeah, the boots. I just don't get how you're going to attack somebody and walk around just not fall over and
right.
It's a superpower, Schaup.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Maybe they retract, and they come out when he needs them to, or something.
And no, I'm trying to remember because they haven't used him in a long time. Didn't they kill him off?
Yeah, he got like some serum. I think he wanted to be like Spider-Man. It turned him into the spider creature. Yeah.
It's been so long since I read a book with the tarantula in it.
Yeah.
And that's a great thing about the Spider-Man though, because like Batman and Superman, you always see the same heroes when it's mainstream media, right? I mean, you always see the same villains. You're going to see Green Goblin. You're going to see Kraven. You're going to see Hobgoblin. But there's like one of my favorite Spider-Man, and he's not really a villain. He's more of a vigilante, kind of like a Punisher type, was Cardiac.
Yes, Cardiac.
Like, awesome. I think Cardiac's awesome. I would love to see Cardiac in a movie too. And he wasn't a straight up villain.
Yep. Doctor that is trying to save everybody. And
right.
Oh yeah, he was awesome. And he brought us Carnage too, right at the same time. So that was good.
Yeah. And I liked I liked that run with him. And then he even turned up in the Black Cat 4-issue miniseries in the 90s, which was a fun little run. Now, what is your favorite? I'm not going to ask because it might be here tonight. I'll ask it later in case.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. I'm getting ahead of myself because I'm excited. Number 4.
No worries. All right. Number 4.
Number 4.
All right. For me, Mary Jane is the woman for Peter. Like he's the one for me. I mean, the 3 are great, but Mary Jane, and it's not that great a copy, but at least it's her first cameo appearance in Spider-Man 25. Nice. And for me, I like the phrase low grade is better than no grade, but if it's not graded, I don't care the look as long as I have the book. So as long as I'm looking, so covers on, but her last phrase of Tiger, you hit the jackpot is that picture's what sells.
And I remember reading that as a kid, and that one frame of her saying that stuck with me.
Oh,
right.
Yeah. It's iconic. It shows up everywhere. So.
Oh, that was, and you already know from watching my channel, I'm a huge Black Cat fan.
Yep.
I got a very low grade ASM 194, but even I will say, as much as I like her and Peter and the flirtation they're doing, it's got to be Peter and MJ all day, every day.
Right.
Like, the book doesn't work any better than when him and MJ are together.
Oh yeah.
Whenever him and MJ are together, the Spider-Man stories are fantastic because you're invested in them as a couple. They're like the underdog you want to root for.
And everything. So she looks out for
Absolutely.
him a lot more than people realize. Like she's always trying to look out for his best interest, and
Right.
so yeah.
Now, did you get that Mary Jane 6-issue arc that came out? What
No,
was
I
it, a
didn't.
year
I
and a
didn't
half
get the.
ago?
I saw all. I got just the first issue, and I tried to find the. I got the Farrah Fawcett looking swimsuit one. That's the one that really stuck out to me. So
Right on.
And Drac, good evening, sir. All right, number 5 shop.
all right, so you just mentioned her. So after Man J is going to be the Felicia Hardy. It's going to be that Black Cat. So like
Nice.
it's
Nice.
those two. Gwen Stacy maybe, but I'm like these two are the top two for
Right.
me for that. And like you said, their
They have
chemistry together is really good.
Right. That flirtation
Yes. Yeah.
that he tries to do with MJ, but I think he does more with. Oh,
Yep.
she does. She really always turned on more to him, really, in a way. But
Oh yeah, she drew a lot more of Peter out and stuff. So
right.
and
And I always loved that cover. It was just when I saw that cover as a kid, and she's like falling down to attack him. It, like
Right.
you couldn't wait to read that book.
oh no,
Oh yeah, no doubt.
And I just remember loving that book as a kid. I read it and read it. It's one of those ones I just kept reading, and I was a Black Cat fan ever since. And then I was always like, why don't they use Black Cat more?
oh yeah,
And then you got more of her like in Web of Spider-Man, Spectacular Spider-Man.
Right.
And I ended up liking those titles a lot because they delved into some of his ancillary characters a bit more.
yeah. They
Yeah.
would just give a different storyline and kind of tie in, but they had their own little divergent stories and stuff.
Absolutely.
Hey, Roscoe.
Oh, I was trying to click on Taylor to say hi. All right,
Taylor?
and we got Taylor, Roscoe, Trev, the shipping guru, all these guys pulling in. Nice to see you, gents. So that was ASM 194. Yeah, Black Cat's always welcome on this channel.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
no
So,
secret.
yeah.
Now, have you been reading the new Black Cats that Jed McKay writes?
No, I would like to get into some more moderns, but I'm like we talked earlier. I'm just really into those Bronze Age, Silver Age, trying to get some of those older stories and see if I can remember the stories right from what I read back then.
Sure.
So, yeah.
You know what? It's. I get it. I mean, I'm starting to ask that same question. How much do I really need to read now when I really, so part of me wants to focus on filling in holes that I have and be like, you know what? I'm probably missing really good storyline here that I just need to finish filling in, especially like in some of my Avengers run and so forth. So
You see, I do that too. Like I collect all these modern ones with my favorite characters, and the Black Cat books have been phenomenal. Jed McKay has advanced her character so much, and the first one shot with her and MJ was written so well, and it didn't demean any of them. It didn't make it into a silly ass fight between them. They actually worked great as a team
up. I mean, they'd definitely be a good team up together.
Yeah, that's kind of what they had to do. You know, when Peter's life was on the line, that's pretty much what they had to do. So
they had a great moment because both the women know that Peter has a history with him, right?
Right.
So he's unconscious in the bed, and they're both standing at the end of the bed, and Peter comes to for a second, and he sees them, and he goes, "Not this dream again. Be gentle." And they look at each other, and they go, "How did this dork land either one of us?"
Seriously, he's got some good girlfriends in the past, so that's interesting.
Right. No, great stuff. All right, number 6, sir.
All right, so we're going to dive a little bit away from Spider-Man. Look at I know back in the 80s, my second love was, I think a lot of people's, was the X-Men.
Oh yeah.
And every time I see this cover, it just reminds me of just how awesome the X-Men were and how awesome Wolverine was back then. And
right.
This 251, this issue, if you haven't read it, him like tearing himself off the cross, that's just the incredible scene. And Jubilee kind of doing the little like narration in the background, watching him fall off. And I mean, I would highly recommend reading a few stories here of this.
I have that issue. One, too, because it's a great homage to Savage Sword of Conan issue 5, The Witch Shall Be Born, with Conan's on that cross. He pulls himself off.
So yeah, Wolverine, Colossus, and Longshot are my top 3 for X-Men.
Longshot, huh?
Yeah.
I always like when somebody picks someone other than the main. It's always more interesting to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the only hard part about it, and Jim knows, like, because we're both Dazzler fans, if you like someone that's not a main X-Men, just waiting long enough to get a story to read about them is
Yeah.
Oh,
it could be a pain.
But Gary and I are going to start a GoFundMe for a Dazzler movie. I think.
Dazzler. Yeah, she was another one that's on there. Yes,
Her
and Longshot. Those two need to show up.
You know, we're going to do a Dazzler movie. We're set back in the 70s. I think it'd be awesome.
Yeah.
And they were in a Marvel fanfare together too. Because yeah. All right, number 7, sir.
All right.
So great book so far.
Oh.
That cover I love. I'm so glad you brought that last one up.
Good. So this X-Men had tons of storylines going on, and Inferno, of course, was an awesome. For me, I don't know about others, but Inferno was great. I don't know if it's a younger Schaup that was doing all that, but like it was fantastic watching the storyline unfold and
Mr. Sinister,
Madame Pryor, and all those characters showing up and going into limbo and finding all the and Sinister's first appearance on the cover, so that's always nice to see that. So
right.
Yeah.
Is he your favorite X villain, or if it's not him, who is it?
Oh, favorite X villain, that'd be tough. Sinister's got to be up there because his infatuation with trying to perfect genetics.
Right. I feel like you know what? I almost kind of like him better than I do Magneto.
Yeah.
I mean, Magneto is very simplistic. You know, we will rule the world. And that was fine in the beginning, but you wanted a different villain, and he came into play, and I definitely liked him better than I did Apocalypse.
Oh yeah. Even though he was like, didn't treat him, or I can't remember how Sinister came about, or was that?
What do you mean? What?
Like how does Sinister? I can't remember his origin. I was trying to think of Sinister's origin for a second. Like,
well, and he's got such a great character design too.
Right. Yeah. Right. I think I just liked him better than Magneto, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I think
I mean,
these main villains, they just beat us over the head with them so much that
right.
Yeah.
You're like, all right, another Magneto storyline.
Yeah.
You know, that's like like if you're a DC fan, Joker's in the Bat book again. What a shock. You know, Batman has like 70 freaking villains that are great, but they just keep doing the Joker over.
Same one over and over.
Yep.
Yeah. No, I mean, Lady Fantastic's right. Apocalypse was the one that embedded Sinister with his extra powers, but
okay, yeah, I couldn't
still like Sinister better.
Yeah.
Better.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. Okay. Thank you, Lady Fantastic. I couldn't remember again. Did I remember it right or not? So reread the stories and so.
Yeah, she's Lady Fantastic is a well of knowledge.
Yeah. Oh yes. Yeah.
Caroline's awesome. But you can't say it out too loud, or else she'll start prancing around like a little prima donna. You got to be careful with her ego.
Nice.
Old Wolf, Callie. All right, what's he saying here? Yeah, trying to make perfect.
Chop and drop.
Yeah.
See, you can always count on the chat to save you if you can't remember something.
Right, they'll let you know.
Right. All right, number 8, sir.
Number 8. All right, so this one is my all-time favorite X-Men cover. It makes me think about, again, back when I first started collecting, and for me, I can't remember if it's my first one I actually got myself, but Fall of the Mutants, this cover, 226, all it does is remind me of what the X-Men are all about. I just love the pink skeletons, and
right.
The Fall of the Mutants was another amazing storyline that they did back then with them. And the story in this book, if you haven't read it, you've got to read it with Wolverine kind of displaying his healing factor, complaining at the beginning of the book about he's sitting in pain. He's like, I gotta sit through the pain to let my healing factor get to work in. And he's fighting all these barbarians. And then I don't know if you haven't read it, I would highly recommend it. So
that's actually one I never did read.
Yeah, I don't know if I read that one either.
They go into a hotel or something like that and sacrifice them. Supposedly, we think they're sacrificing themselves for the humanity.
Right.
And at the end, Forge and Storm. Forge gives Storm back her power. I mean, it's a lot going on. So.
Oh, Storm had lost her power in that?
Yeah, Storm had been depowered, and I think the villain in the story depowered her, and then like Forge helped her get her powers back, and kind of how that issue ended. So.
See, and Storm's tough for me because Storm's a favorite character, and I can never decide if I like her with the mohawk better or with the big flowing locks. You know, the big flowing hair. Like
Yeah.
I like them both, and I can't pick a favorite. I think I like them both equally, both styles.
Yes. The mohawk might be just edging out a little bit for me. So it's just
A little tougher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I like her better with Forge or the Black Panther. I'm like those two. I mean,
Right.
it'd be awesome with
And
the Black Panther, but Forge and her had a really good, nice little chemistry. And
I just liked when she got so pissed off that she didn't care anymore and just unleashed herself.
yeah.
And I was like, look, I don't have to be nice. I can take all of you out anytime I want.
Oh, yeah. I mean, she's top tier. That's for sure.
Yeah. No, Storm is great. And that was one of the characters that drew me to the X-Men. Everyone got drawn in because of Wolverine. I got drawn in because of Storm is initially what drew me to the X-Men.
Okay. So yeah, Colossus. So I think he just edged out Wolverine when I first got into it, but Wolverine's kind of maybe taken over a little bit. But
Now I have to ask you this question for Lady Fantastic, okay? Whenever there's anyone talking about X-Men, pro Cyclops or no Cyclops?
I don't think he should be the leader. I'll say that. I don't think he. I mean, he kind of understands stuff, but I'm like, I think he's a little whip at times. So I think he can. I think I say no. I finally answered no.
Good call. Good call.
Yeah.
And favorite X-Men movie?
Ooh. I don't know. It's got to be the first one. When Wolverine slowly puts those claws out and seeing him for the first time, I'm like, no. I'm like, that sold it. I don't care who it was. Just have those claws and have that middle one slowly come out. I'm like, oh.
Right? And introduce him in a cage fight in a bar.
Yeah.
And do the headbutt and then come back and like, oh, it didn't phase me.
Right?
So, yeah.
It just, and when people are always talking about casting, oh, you need a big star. That's a perfect example of you just need to cast a good actor in a role. It doesn't matter who they just have to be a good actor, actress. They just have to be good at their craft and they can be the character.
Right.
Because nobody in the world knew who he was except Aussies.
Yeah.
Yeah. He'd done
go ahead, sorry.
He'd done like I want to say it was a weekly show in Australia, you know, like a soap opera type thing, and that's where he actually met his wife. Okay. And his wife was like,
together.
Yeah, and his wife was like, yeah, don't take that American job. It'll pigeonhole you into being just that. And I think it was a situation where he was like, you know, I need to get my foothold in America. I need to be, you know, so he took it just for that reason because she didn't want him to take it. And he's like, no, I think I'm going to take it just so I can get my name out there. And look what it did. It gave him like 8
career's blown up.
Yeah. I mean, he did so much more after that. He got movie after movie after movie. Now, not all of them good, but you know, he did them anyway.
Well, nobody makes all good movies.
So.
Now, are you excited to see him reprise his role in the Deadpool 3 movie?
I want to see what they do with it. Like I've heard the thing that is like maybe it's before the Logan happened. So I don't know if that's what's going to happen, but I'm excited to see just the two interact with each other.
Right.
How they interact in person is
right. It's going to be hilarious. I think we're going to get some of the best comedy in a Deadpool movie out of this next one.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, when he throws that Sexiest Man Alive with Hugh Jackman on the cover in the movie, I'm like, he knows something's got to be going on with those two guys. I mean,
right.
And I got to ask you, being a Wolverine fan, did you enjoy Logan as much as everybody else when you actually got to see him let loose with the claws in that hotel and stuff? And
I just liked his like how he appeared to be like just withered and like he's got all these years on him. But I didn't like them taking like saying his powers were losing. That I didn't like. But otherwise, that movie was everything that it.
I also didn't like him losing his powers. But I did like that you finally got to see Wolverine's claws the way you should see his claws. Like when he puts them through that guy's skull and he's cutting off arms and he's just messing people up. Yep. And then when X-23 came on, I'm like, this little girl isn't going to be intimidating. And then every time she was on screen, like, oh.
She stole the scenes.
She jumped on top of a dude and just, and you're like, oh my God.
And I always felt like the foot blades were weird, but then they completely sold me on it in the movie. I'm like,
she made them
they're vicious.
Yes.
Yeah, she made him work, man. She made him work with us.
Because if he's the best at what he does, we got to see what he does. Like,
right.
Like we got to see what it is. So
yeah.
He only has to do it every once in a while to remind people how good he is.
Yeah.
All right, number 9.
Number 9. Oh, did I miscalculate here? Oh, sorry.
We're gonna have to put him in the 10-1-1 timeout, Jim.
And
He has to go
no,
behind him
sorry,
and
okay.
pull.
No, shoot. I think I miscalculated, Gary. I apologize.
Oh, that's
That
okay.
means you have to pull one from the back there.
Oh, I know. Oh, I got one. Oh, since we're on the X-Men kick, Colossus being my favorite and stuff, and I love the Jim Lee X-Men in the 90s. And lately, watching Rob and a lot of people with their signature books,
Sure.
I never thought I'd want signatures, but then I'm like, all of a sudden, that's kind of what my second thing is. I want to get some signatures of people. So I thought I'd try to get Jim Lee, and I picked up a very nice copy with Colossus on the cover with Jim Lee's first artwork in X-Men.
Nice.
So, and then by chance, it just happened to have Chris Claremont's autograph on the side here in a nice little spot right along there.
Very
So
nice.
just
Under the trade dress.
And the person was selling it, I think it was like $20.
Nice.
Yeah, that's not an expensive book to get, and it's his first artwork on the X-Men.
And signed, double signed. I'm like, I'm not going to pass that up. I'm going to jump all over it and grab that. So.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Yep. Double signed, and you only got it for $20. Shoot.
Yep.
And then I think what got a lot of people into signatures too was when Stan Lee died, and they realized that you may not always be able to get somebody's signature.
Right.
And then,
it's interesting is when John and I went to Baltimore Comic-Con this past year, there was a huge line for the Simonsons because, neither one of them are getting any younger. And I'm just shocked at the line. It was just like I've been there to numerous Comic-Cons in the past, and the Simonsons had no line nearly that big. And it was like Gary said, after Stan passed, George Perez passed, all these greats are starting to pass. Neil Adams, people are starting to wake up and go, I need to stand in line for this guy. Instead of worrying about the new guys that are on the block, I need to take care of these guys that are, because they may not be around, and they want it. People don't always think like that. So,
and they have great stories to tell.
Yeah,
about the business and the industry.
Oh yeah.
Like one of the nicest guys I met in shop, he came up here. He did a lot of inking and stuff on Spider-Man. Was Keith Williams.
Okay.
Like what a nice guy. I had him sign 5 books for me. A bunch of Web of Spider-Mans, just some great that he worked on. Super nice dude. His wife was just as nice as he was.
So Web of Spider-Man's good books.
Huh?
Some Web of Spider-Mans have some great issues and books for sure.
Oh yeah. But and then you realize, like, wow, when you get to talk to these creators, and they have such good stories to share sometimes, some behind the scenes stuff that you don't know about, and they'll tell you about.
That's what you want to hear, the dirt.
Right? We don't even know how that book got out on time. Blah, blah, blah. And you're like, wow, really?
Yeah. That to me is the best part. If you can get them to start talking about the industry situations that happened in the past, like
stories,
who was it? I think it was Claremont or somebody brought up. I was watching a video, and Claremont said that they had. Was it Claremont? I don't remember who it was, but they said they'd. New York in I want to say it was the mid '80s. They changed the fire law, and a lot of these older buildings didn't have the doors the right way to get out of a building, and. Stan was late for something, and he came running up the back steps to go into the building, and he couldn't get the door open because they had locked it, or the only way to get out was to push it from the inside. It was locked on the outside, and he's over there just banging away. Everybody else is taking the elevator, and he didn't realize they had changed the doors, so he stood out there for like 20 minutes.
Poor Stan the Manly.
Before anybody was like, where's Stan? And they were like, oh, he was coming up through the back. And they were like, oh, yeah, they changed the doors. He's not going to be able to get in now.
I got to say,
go ahead, Schaup.
CJ, I'm going to shout out CJ. I saw him saying a comment here about Schaup, and then him and Durs going back and forth got me cracking up here on the side.
Oh, yeah. The not bitter.
Not bitter.
Those are good, man. That's awesome.
Well, That's the best thing about the live shop is you get some really fun chats going.
Yeah.
And you try not to crack up while you're doing.
I
your
was trying
show.
not to laugh too hard. I was like reading them on the side here. I was like, oh my gosh.
That's okay. You
Thank you,
number
Diverse,
10,
for that
sir.
comment. What's that?
Number 10.
10. All right. This was the story.
Okay, Joe.
Is that right?
Nope, that's 11.
Oh my god. Oh, I'm really off, Gary.
Yeah, 11 is a personal story attached, and then 12 is the spec pick.
All right. I'm sorry. I better dig out another one real quick.
It's okay.
You're fine.
What?
This is action,
Action. Oh yeah.
This
Right?
is all the action right here.
He's going into the archives as we speak.
All right.
There you go. Hey,
This
Pocan
one was
Joe.
one actually I was talking to you, Gary, but I put back,
Biggie.
and then I can grab it again here. Oh man, I'm sorry for the miscalculation on my part. So makes for a good
you're
show,
right.
right? All right. So this one I did put away earlier, but when Arrow came out on CW, I was like, that show was phenomenal,
Mhm.
and I just was waiting for the classic look of the Green Arrow. For me, the classic look's got to be Neil Adams. And
Oh,
yeah.
I love, like, this was the first introduction of that goatee, of the hat and the green, so the Robin Hood look. I love the Neil Adams Green Arrow. And like,
It's fantastic.
The
Him
Great
and Mike
Bull.
Grell's Green Arrow, and I love his personality as he is in that character.
Right.
yeah, and with his background of like the similarities with him and Batman are there, but like he kind of have I think he had a harder time because he was on the island for that time, and so
Well, I think he cared more than Batman
Yeah.
did. You know,
Yeah.
he cared about individual people, whereas Batman is willing to, yeah, you can go and die. Whereas he didn't want people dying, but yeah, no, I agree. I have to go with Gary. I love that Neil Adams one, but I always thought
Yeah.
Mike Grell did a really good job of drawing him.
yeah.
And he just did so much like help the public in a different way with his
Right.
money than Bruce did.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you kind of
Right,
knew
and
who it was a little bit because he couldn't hide behind the mask or anything.
Right.
So, yeah.
No, he was out there straight out. So
Yeah.
good.
All right, that is a great book. All right, number 11 with a
I was
personal
trying to throw it
story.
off a little bit, some of the books. So, like, not all Spidey.
Right?
Yeah.
And you even got a DC in there.
Yes.
Wow.
DC. A surprise. Proper surprise, I'm sure. So,
All right, so number 11 with a personal story, Shop.
all right. So, I kind of, as a lot of people do, they get out of comics and they're like, okay, will you ever get back? I thought, well, no. I've got a kid on the way back in the early 2010s. And I was thinking, oh, I'm going to get rid of a small box of comics I got just to make room. And then all of a sudden, the Comic Book Men show comes out. And I'm like, oh, maybe I do want to get back into it. And look at all some stuff. And so I think this was one of the first books that got me back into the collecting the Amazing Spider-Man run. And it came with 3 books in the lot. So I might kind of show the 3.
Sure, that's fine.
So the first one was Amazing Spider-Man 67. But the big thing was getting Ditko's last issue that he did.
Yeah,
Amazing Spider-Man
wow.
38. But the thing was, this was the one in the picture, but it also came with this book right here, Spider-Man 50.
50.
Right.
Ooh.
The person's like, it was in my dad's attic on eBay. He said it. It's on my dad's attic. I need to get rid of it. It was $35. Buy it now. So I'm like,
Wow, what a bargain.
then it's like, and these just remind me of I wouldn't be here if I didn't get back into the collecting in 2011 and getting these 3 books the first time
Wow.
and just having a
You're
chance.
getting a good deal on them.
Get a good deal. That's like, if you see me, I kind of get that low. I try to get the low grades, but like
That's
I
all
said,
right.
doesn't matter how it looks as long as you have the book, right?
Yep.
And you get to read it.
Yeah, and so it doesn't matter if you're thumbing through it. You can read the books, and you're not gonna really damage it much more. So
Mm-mm.
It's like, well, what Jim always likes to ask. You want to ask him what he likes more?
I do. I always like to ask people, what do they like more, the art or the story and the writing? For me, the reason why I say that is, for me, I am about the art. I can go and get a book, and if if I open it up and the art is really bad, I have a real time wanting to read the story. But if the art's good, then, you know, even if the story's trash, at least I can look and go, well, this is beautiful art, regardless of the fact that it's a trash story.
Create your own little story to go with the story on top of it. And
right.
Yeah.
I mean, and I just, you know, I'm not saying you're not a reader, because I still love to read.
Yeah.
But boy, if I'm reading a comic, I want a certain level of art. And I think sometimes some of these modern artists phone it in. I do not think I mean, we lost George Perez. He's probably, without a doubt, my favorite. Him and John Byrne both. And they don't have that level, in my opinion, today, what they had back then.
Yeah. I'd say a combination of the two. If one's off, it kind of throws me off with the other one.
Yeah.
So like right around the Craven's last one, that's still my favorite. Like I can reread that. Like that's a story.
Right.
You can reread
gorgeous art.
And the art goes with it very well.
The art goes
but
with
imagine
it.
if they'd drawn Craven really bad, you know? I mean, like he just wasn't, I don't know. I feel like you got to have, that art has to be there, or the story is only going to get me so far.
And I always like that other villain too, Vermin. Like he was such a sad villain because he just couldn't help who he was, you know?
Right. Right.
And
you always felt bad for Vermin. I'm sorry, go ahead, Schaup.
Todd McFarlane, like we went from that great artwork right into Todd McFarlane, and like it was just like one thing after another, good story, and like great storylines for.
Well, Spidey's had a string of incredible artists for a long time. He you know, because then Eric Larson came after McFarlane. Like, how do you follow McFarlane? And I liked Eric Larson's stuff.
He did great.
Like, I was
he did great.
By Bagley and Larson both, but then like after you read a few of the books and you're like, oh well, wait a minute, no, the art's perfect with it. That goes with the story, and like with that first initiation, it's like, let me take a step back.
And even Sal Buscema on Web of Spider-Man did a great job with Spidey.
Yeah.
But we know you love McFarlane. Is he your all-time favorite Spider-Man artist, or is there another one? And if he is, who's your second?
All right,
mine is John Romita Sr.
For me, it's got, since he drew me in and got me into collecting, I'd say Todd McFarlane.
Yeah, it has to be Todd.
Senior is right up there, if neck and neck with Todd, but because I love all those old covers that he's like, you can't, from 39 on, you can't find a bad cover that he did with that storyline stuff. It was just like hit after hit, cover after cover, just great artwork that you can't replicate anymore. So
I agree.
And just some of the most classic covers that just stick out in your memory.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Now, did you, being a McFarlane fan, some of my favorite covers of his were actually on Marvel Tales. I love the 2 Dazzler covers he did. Like those are just so good. And did you ever see those?
No, I did not.
Oh, so McFarlane did a run of covers on Marvel Tales with the Spidey reprints. And if you've never seen them, they're fantastic.
Okay.
But most of them go for what, $10 to $20 now, Jim?
Oh yeah.
Just because he did the cover. They're reprints. But the McFarlane art in those covers is great. He's got a great Spider-Man Angel one. But you should really check those out, Schaup, being a McFarlane fan.
See, I want to get some more like random covers. Like I have been looking up the Conan cover that he did, like his first issue with Conan the Barbarian. That's a pretty good cover too that I would like to pick up with him, with his artwork.
See, and that cover is one of my least favorite covers.
Okay.
I'm like him, and then the follow-up to that one, the next issue with Jim Lee. And Jim Lee did Conan covers before that famous one, because everyone only thinks he did that one. He did other ones that I thought were way better than that one, because they both did the extreme close-up, and I'm like, it just neither one really represented the character to me. And everyone's like, "Oh, I love those covers." I'm like, "They're all right. They're not John Buscema.
If you
They're
look
not Ernie Chan."
neck down, almost looked like that Hulk, almost looked like his Hulk artwork when he because it's so that thick and shoulders and stuff.
Yeah, and he gave Conan that square face like the Hulk too.
Yeah.
Right. Well, you know, when we went to GalaxyCon in Richmond, I got to meet Mike Grell, and Mike Grell talked a story about how I think it was I want to say it was DC, because he drew two characters. He drew Green Arrow, but he also drew the Warlord series, and they wanted him to do somebody else, and he says, listen, I have a basic face that I draw, and usually it involves a goatee, and it's not gonna, I can't remember who it was that, I think it was DC wanted him to draw somebody else, and they was like, no, I'm not taking on that book because
right, Mike Grell, yeah. He goes,
I'm not, my
see
face,
what I draw.
yeah, it's not gonna fit. And it was, I want to say it was a female character, and he was
Because,
like, no, I'm better with the guys, leave me be.
Right, because like Warlord and Green Arrow could almost be
they look like twins.
Yeah, like brothers.
It's like the Goku stuff, like Who's Who, like you can, that artwork, the animation. I can't. Is that the right thing? What I'm thinking of?
What do you mean?
Goku and the villains and the.
Oh yeah.
All
Dragon Ball. They all kind of look the same. One's just small. Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, and he told it. He was sitting there saying, I had a specific way I drew people, and I was like, you guys do not. And then the thing was, they wanted to bring, like, I think he said the other idea was they wanted to bring Green Lantern into Warlord's book somehow, or what was it? It was they wanted to do a Warlord crossover with Green Lantern, and it just wasn't. He's like, no, because they have the same face, but they're two different characters, and not just that, but like there was no way to get him into where Warlord was. He was on like inside the planet of the Earth or something, and it was like he just told him no, it wasn't going to look.
Yeah, too much of a stretch.
Yeah.
All right, so now, Schaup, we get your spec pick.
Okay, spec book, right? Spec book.
Yep.
So spec book, I've got. Oh, just joking. So I'll put that down. No, but I was a little chapter book I wrote. So that's my spec book.
Wait, go back. What? Stop. Go back.
Oh.
What is this?
Yeah, plug yourself.
Yeah, what is that?
Max Baker, the non-magic maker. It's a little chapter book for upper elementary that I kind of self-published through Amazon KDP. So.
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah.
Ain't that
so my idea was this character here. Where's it? Can't get my finger there.
In the middle.
In the middle, they live in a world with magic, but his family has none, so they have to use science and their brain to kind of overcome everything. So.
Okay, this might be a whole nother segment to go on because I'm fascinated now. So let's go to the spec book before I get off the topic.
Right.
But we definitely might revisit that.
Okay.
On the hot seat.
We mentioned this character earlier, and so Longshot. He's
nice.
My top 3 X-Men. Longshot 1. That's my spec. I think if you bring him in, then you're bringing the Mojoverse, and that could be a game changer with MCU. I think that would just be a huge. There you go.
I just bought it. Yeah, love it.
I actually need to get that series. That's one of the 4-issue ones I don't have from Marvel. I got to pick it up.
I got the series. I've had the series a couple times. I got even away in one of my mystery boxes a while back. This is like the second raw one I've had, and then I've got I don't know if you saw a video back then. I got the 6-issue series. I found it somehow. Everyone signed by Adams.
Really?
So, yeah.
Nice. All right, I got to go look at that.
So then I sent them in right away to get them graded. I mean, I just confirmed the signature with PGX. And have all 6 all signed. Issue 1's right up there. So,
right. And I want to thank Remy Q for the super chat. I don't have a cool little video to play yet, so
there you go, Remy.
But I think like Longshot, if those books I showed earlier, the X-Men, when he got bit by one of the demons in Lobo, and like he was worried, he couldn't tell if his luck was still there. I mean, it shows a lot about him in those issues, as well as Colossus, and I mean, it's just the Fall of the Mutants and Inferno are just 2 great storylines.
Now, what they did him wrong in Deadpool 2, though.
Oh my god!
Yeah, that was
his
bad.
son. it was this Shatterstar, right? It was
Yeah,
this,
sorry, it was
Shatterstar.
Shatterstar, not Longshot. Yeah.
the sun or whatever, the future, whatever that. So yeah, they did like barely touched about Mojoverse with that. I'm like, no, that thing is there is so much there that they could do with. So
Well, I think once we get into full X-Men in the Marvel Universe, I think we'll definitely see a Mojo storyline happening.
I agree.
It's too dynamic with it being televised and stuff like that.
Yep.
You could just do so much with that in the movies.
and the looks they can get for like Mojo and like his plan, like if they could do Thor Ragnarok that good, I mean they could do just great with the surroundings with that one.
Oh yeah, dude, that was great, Jim. You wanted to revisit him again on the one or
No.
Okay.
Like I said,
No, that would be a hot seat thing.
yeah.
So that was absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for coming on. I really liked seeing some different. I knew about the Spider-Man. It was nice seeing the X books, especially the one with Wolverine.
Arthur Adams. I can't think of his first name for a second.
Yeah,
Cali.
Yeah, that's his first work, though. I believe.
Yeah, I was just drawing the blank. I can't think of the first name. So
yeah. That was a great one to finish with, and I mean, I don't have all 6. This is 6, Gary, by the way.
Oh,
this
6,
isn't 4.
6th issue. Yep.
But that was my, it was a team.
And that book's come up a lot lately.
Yeah, Troy was selling it, and I didn't have it, and I just loved the first cover of it. But I wouldn't mind reading the story. So if I can get the rest, maybe that'll be one of my Heroes Con quests when I go to Heroes Con. So.
Yeah, I'm thinking about finding just the trade with the 6 issues since I've got the other ones all graded, so I can have it to read.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, you got all 6 graded?
All 6 are graded. All 6 are signed by Arthur Adams.
Wow.
Yeah. So somebody must have had him. Like the last one says, to Buddy or like thanks, Buddy. So I'm like, if it says thanks, Buddy, it could be anybody. So I'm like, I don't care. It could be. I'll take it. So.
Oh, here. That's
go.
a good question. We'll ask that question.
Oh, on Amazon. I did it through self-published through Amazon.
All right. Now we got to go look that up. My wife is a science nerd, so she'd probably be down to see it.
Cool.
Well, nice. So we're gonna go around the horn here before we say goodbye to the chat. So Jim, what's coming up for you, sir?
I just dropped today a mystery box that I opened from Flo Dameron. Go check it out if you haven't seen it. I'm not going to tell you any of the books because I want you to go see the video. There's a couple books in there that are definitely ooh worthy. I'm like, ooh, when you look at it, you open it up and you're like, ooh. So yeah, and I don't know what's coming up after that. I think I brought this up before. It's kind of cold right now, so it's not a good digging time to go outside and metal detect. But this is where I do my research. It's kind of the boring part to try to figure out where I want to go in the spring. So I don't know if you'll see very many more of those. I have a few clips that I might drop as shorts that I were like, hey, I dug this hole and I found this, and if you want to see it, here you go. But yeah, and I've got a couple other things I'm thinking about doing. But yeah, that's really it right now. I might do the comic challenge. Beard and Cole did the 2022 comic challenge to say, what covers did you like in 2022? So I might be doing that.
And Jim, you might want to be an extra guest next Tuesday.
Oh, really?
Because we have Jason Douglas on the 1011.
Nice.
The author, Jason Douglas, the author of Parallel.
He acts all innocent, but dude, he has fire. He's, I don't have that much.
He posts some legit books.
He has some straight up legit books. Yeah. I'm like, dude, you have fire back there behind you. Don't act all innocent. Like, I don't have that much. You have a ton, and it looks great.
This Sunday, I will be the guest on the Marauder show on Matt Wood's channel. So come check me out on Matt Wood's. And Schaup, what's coming up for you, sir?
I just want to answer Callie's question about
sure.
Mojo, 3rd issue. It's a 3rd issue for Mojo's first appearance.
Yeah.
For that. So in Longshot 3. So for me, just some videos coming out. I got to go through the catalog of what I've got coming coming up next. So, and then be on the lookout on IG. I'm sure there'll be a few little characters showing up every once in a while. That just happy that everyone's enjoying some random little artwork out there. So,
oh, and that's been like a little highlight for us on Instagram too.
good.
Oh yeah. And you know, people around here, man, if you do something like that and they really like it, they just run with it.
Oh yeah.
They just put it all together and make it. Next thing you know.
Say,
So
Chris has turned out so good. I just kind of kept rolling. Like, blame Chris, because if his didn't turn out, then I probably would have stopped right there. But it turned out
Yeah,
really
Chris-
good. Just
Yeah,
kept going. Now Tyler's saying don't stop, so I'm like, okay, I won't stop. So I'll just
Yeah.
Right, got in your zone, right?
Yep.
All right, and I want to thank everyone that came into the chat tonight. We had a great chat. It was popping the whole time. A lot of fun, and just thank you all for coming out. Jim, thank you for co-hosting. Schaup, thank you for accepting the invitation to come on and share your books and your stories with us. We always appreciate it.
Oh heck
Thank you
yeah!
so much. It
And,
was great. I'm glad you invited me. So thank
Yeah,
you.
oh, a lot of fun. And
Now we have
guys,
to get him on the hot seat.
right? Exactly. Then we do the deep dive.
Deep dive.
And then until next time, guys, keep it casual.